not, I'd never been here until I was mayor. And, you know, I grew up behind Melody High School. I had different community centers. So I was certainly aware of.
Thank you all so much for being here. We're so excited to have this amazing turnout to open up this awesome historic boxing facility in the South San Jose community. So thank you all for being here, and I'll go ahead and give it to Mayor. We're gonna get started. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Well, isn't it great to be back in Jack Candelaria Boxing Training Center? That's right, I know it's been a while. Welcome back home. I know we've got fighters, we've got trainers, we have former fighters, former trainers, and we got neighborhood community folks, and we're all here to celebrate the comeback of this facility in a big way. And so first, of course, I just want to thank everyone who's shown up today, but most importantly, everyone who's shown up for like the last 40, 50 years to keep this program alive and to keep that amazing boxing tradition alive right here at Albuquerque. Thank you all. Now, this is a special occasion, and it's a special occasion for a lot of reasons, but I just want to begin by acknowledging that not every city has this. In fact, I don't think any city has the history and now this facility redone in the entire country. That is a powerful thing. And so that's also why we're going to ask you for a little bit of grace, because we got a lot of speakers and a lot of folks who just want to share some perspective and just articulate how special it is to have this right here in Burque. This is awesome. And for us too, I do want to begin a little bit with just the origin story, at least for me. And so, you know, as I'm obviously not a boxer, but a fan, and like almost everyone who grew up in Albuquerque, you know, there were fighters in our lifetime that were part of who we were when we were growing up in this city. And I know for folks of an older generation, it's boxers of an older generation. For me, it was Johnny Tapia. I'll just tell you, that was my generation. And so we all have, you know, amazing boxing stories, but I wanted to begin with is how, in an amazing way, boxing, and this goes for all combat sports, MMA too, how combat sports can bring us together, I think, in a way that is incredibly unique. And it's almost hard to understand. It's something more like innate to who we are as people that I don't really have the words for, but I know what happens. I remember when Danny and Johnny fought. And I remember I was actually in Springer, New Mexico, and you could hear a pin drop in the whole town in between rounds through people's TVs, like in the small town of Springer, everyone watching that fight. And then cheers from one side of the street or the other, depending on who they were going for. And for us, it shows how something like boxing can captivate an entire state. And an amazing way is it actually means everyone. When we have a champ, when we have an amazing fight, it actually brings us all together in a way that, look, sports always does. And I love sports. We all love sports. But there's something extra unifying about combat sports. And the other story I want to share about that is, of course, I know she couldn't be here tonight because she's fighting and has her own history, but of course, Holly Holm. You know, I have never in my life seen somebody enter a restaurant and get a standing ovation for like a month. And that's what she did for our community, right? And I know each of you have those own stories, but I will tell you there is nothing more powerful than a combat sports champion to bring and unite us together. Because in many ways, right, they're fighting for us. They're fighting for New Mexico, they're fighting for Albuquerque, and they're fighting for our own challenges. That, I think, is psychologically what they do that almost no other sport can do for us. So for me, that's why I believe, at least, that boxing is extra special. Now, there's also what it means for our youth, and that brings us to this facility here today. You know we have lots of challenges, whether it's the challenges around fentanyl and drugs, violence, guns, everything that's happening in our community. But we also know that we have to provide ways out, different paths that people can take. And everyone's different, so everyone needs a different path. And one path that is well-worn is this program right here. And you're going to hear about the lives it's touched. It doesn't matter if the person ended up becoming a champ or not. What matters is that their life was changed. They found a mentor. They found discipline. They found something inside them that they didn't have before. That's what this gym provides. That's what's so powerful. And so we want to keep doing that for the next generation. So when I came here for the first time, believe it or not, I'd never been here until I was mayor. And I grew up behind Del Norte High School. I had different community centers. So I was certainly aware of the tradition and of the fighters. But I walked into this place, and a lot of the folks from South San Jose were here. There was some training going on. I was blown away at hearing the story and the history of how this started on William Street, how the city took it over, and how Jack Candelaria and the community embraced it, how the Valencia family kept up the training, the Champs, the Turrieta, trained. That's right. And so for me, it was also a powerful experience, but I also learned something right away. I heard loud and clear that this had been forgotten by the city. Not by the workers who worked here every day, because they love this place, but in general, the message was clear to me. It was that no one has fought for South San Jose in decades. And it was a challenge. It was a challenge thrown down to say, hey, you're the mayor now. Why don't you actually invest in this place? Why don't you set it up for the next generation? And, it took me maybe a couple of days, and I decided we are going to do this. This has been one of the few 100% personal projects that luckily council agreed with me, but I was like, yes. They're like, what is the mayor's priority for whatever bond bill and whatever package and whatever financing? The legislators who helped fund this, some of them are here. By the way, Jacob Candelaria, who's the grandson, had a whole lot to do with funding this program. But this was the personal ask for me. And so I'm so grateful that we were able to deliver on that and to actually set this up for generations to come. So look, I'm gonna wrap up with a couple of things. There are some basics we're gonna hear more about, but I just wanna make sure that I honor them officially in my opening remarks. We mentioned some of the families and the leaders that have been here, but if you have a chance to walk around and check out some of the signage and the plaques, here's what we wanted to do. The boxers said, we don't want Define Fitness. That was like loud and clear. We want the same gym that we had, but with lights that work and better fans and better equipment and a championship ring. And so that's what we tried to do. And I want to say our team at the city worked really hard to keep, interestingly, things that mattered, like all the posters, right? The wood paneling that, of course, the designers originally wanted to totally change. And so I think they have protected the culture of this place, even though what you see doesn't necessarily look brand new, it all actually is. Also, it's a little bit warm in here because we also learned that the fighters like it a little bit warm. So, but yes, the air conditioner works better in other parts of the building. And also, we know the neighborhood wanted a computer room. That was a huge ask. And so we're not really here to talk about or celebrate that, but I do want you to know we honored the community request just on the other side of the hall. And also, we did want to tell our history as much as we can. And so that's why you see that sort of New Mexico boxing history summary outside. That's why you see different plaques positioned around. And so that's why I want to acknowledge in no particular order, we've got the basketball gym now honors Jake Valencia Sr. And of course, Jake Jr., you've got the ring right there, the first ring. And of course, Joe Turrieta Sr. has the championship ring. So I know these legacies are going to continue, and I'm going to close my remarks by just highlighting also what this means for our city and community. We often talk about big projects, about what can we do that will change somehow our city or make things different like overnight. And one of the things we have tried to do is we've tried to say that's not really always how it works. It takes neighborhood investment, one neighborhood at a time. And we decided when I came in to start by investing in our older neighborhoods, our underserved neighborhoods, neighborhoods that had been forgotten. And so this gym is not alone. Martinez Town has a new multi-gen center. Westgate has a new community center. Even Singing Arrow has a new community center. The International District has a new library. And now South San Jose has its community center back. Okay, so what we're going to do is hear from a couple of other folks, and we're going to start with some other elected officials from this area. And the heir to Jacob Candelaria's work is your state senator, Michael Padilla. Please give him a round of applause for all his help.
Okay. Wow. Is this not amazing? I literally cannot believe the way this thing turned out. Thank you, Mayor. Let's give him a hand for all of his leadership on this. Thank you. And you know, you can't come to a community like this without realizing that you have about, I don't know, 200-300 people in the room right now, maybe more, 400. I think I'm cousins with about at least this whole half side of the room. And including Joe Turrieta, this ring behind me here. And I have to tell you, the family would be very, very thankful. A lot of them have passed on. I see a lot of people nodding. We miss him every day. You know, he passed recently. That's right. You know, when he went to go buy a truck every time, he'd say, Padilla, get in with me. We're going to go negotiate this thing. And he'd bring his gloves and we'd get a good deal. I'm telling you right now, okay? And what I did here, before I sat down, somebody told me that everybody that speaks today has to get in the ring with one of these boxers. So I'm on my way to another event. That's why I wore this tie. But I'll take my tie off. But I do want to say thank you to a lot of people. They say you should not start recognizing people in a crowd because you're going to definitely miss somebody. So from the bottom of my heart, I just want to say thank you. Every single person in this room had a hand in making this happen. So give yourselves a hand too. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. And I'm going to start recognizing just a few people, okay? So I want to thank Joe Chavez over here, who is Mr. Boxing New Mexico. Thank you very much, Joe. And Isabel, thank you for all your work over the years. We have Madam Commissioner right here from the Boxing Commission. Would you stand up? Let's give her a hand as well. Thank you. And I would be remiss, and I think his mom would literally punch my lights out if I didn't recognize Josh Pitbull Torres right there. Give him a hand, everybody. One of my cousins. When he's not punching someone's lights out, he'll give you a really great haircut, so go on down there and get a good haircut. But things like this don't just magically happen. If you see former Senator Jacob Candelaria, who many of you may know, I hope that you're going to tell him that I talked about him a little bit today, because it takes a sort of a quarterback, a champion in the legislature to start getting things done. And so Senator Candelaria, when you see him, tell him that I said thank you to him publicly in front of everybody. Let's just give him a hand, even though he's not here. He did a great job that way. And the only other thing I'd like to say here today, and it's a really important thing that's not lost on someone like me, and I know it's not lost on you. What we really need to do is give our children something to do. Do you agree? Yes. Do you agree? Yes. Should we give our children something to do? Yes. A park to play in. A basketball court to throw that basketball, and a place to go boxing. Do you agree? Yes. If we don't give them this, they're going to find something to do, right? And maybe it's not what we want them to be up to or whatever. So I just want to thank the entire community for never letting this dream die and making sure that this continued. I love every one of you. I'm Senator Michael Padilla. I'm fighting for you every single day. Thank you.
And now your city councilor fighting for you with council, and Joaquin Baca.
Yeah. Thank you, Mayor. I feel like I'm the first card on the undercard after these two. You know, this is who you really came to see. But I have memories of actually training here with my brother. Like everybody else in this room, I have memories in this building, and that's important. And I know that so many of you out there should be up here speaking instead of me. So I appreciate that. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who's had a hand in this in the past and going forward. And to echo the mayor and the senator, you know, this is such an important part of the community, such an important part of our culture. This place literally saves lives. You know, I'm not the first to say that. I'm copying that from someone, but it's not an exaggeration. I think we all know that this place saves lives. So I just want to thank everybody that's here and everybody who's going to continue to be here as we move forward. And then last thing, there's also a giant park right next door to here. Council has fully funded out that, and the plans are just about done, and so that'll be getting taken care of as well. So thank you.
All right, so now we're going to hear from, there are lots of legends on the bill today, but one of them is a writer, and I think everyone knows this guy. I mean, I've been reading his stuff, I think, my whole life. And so I want to welcome Rick right up, ladies and gentlemen. There you are.
Thank you so much.
You deserve it.
I'm recording myself to make sure I don't talk too long. I was a boxing fan as a kid before I was a football fan or a baseball fan. My heroes were Rocky Marciano, Floyd Patterson, Sugar Ray Robinson, and on and on. And as a little kid, I had an imaginary hero named Robbie Angelitos. I would go out in the backyard and throw punches as if I were Robbie. He would throw like 1,000 punches around and he never lost. Sometimes I'd go out in the front yard and do it, and the neighbors would drive by. What's wrong with that boy? But I found out very early on in the schoolyard that I was not going to be a boxer. Had slow hands, a very low pain tolerance, very low. So as a result, I've always been in honor of you folks who actually do it. Every time I come in this building, I feel like I'm not worthy. I'm uncomfortable. But you guys over the years have made me feel so comfortable, and I appreciate it. The history of the place, when I was a kid, I watched Duke's games at Tingley Field. I thought it was beautiful. But by the late 60s, the city had grown exponentially, and Tingley wasn't good enough or big enough. In 1969, I was a senior at UNM. One spring day, I cut classes to see the first game ever at the sports stadium, exhibition game between the San Francisco Giants and the Cleveland Indians. One of my great memories. And yet, by the 2000s, sports stadium wasn't good enough. Then we actually lost baseball for a while. Portland stole the Dukes out from under us. But in 2003, on the same site, Isotopes Park opened, and it's beautiful. We've seen the same progression in boxing. Show of hands, who actually was at the William Street Gym? Jake, I know you were. Anyone else? Luis, I know you were. Yeah, it wasn't beautiful. It was never beautiful. But then came South San Jose Community Center, renamed in '97 for Jack Candelaria. And I confess, I didn't know until 2 years ago, when this renovation was announced, who Jack Candelaria was. We tend not to do that. Like, who is Juan Tabo? Who was Juan Tabo? Juan Tabo, I think. He's not around to tell us how it was pronounced. Who was Mr. Manal? Who was Mr. Eubank? We don't think about it. But I have come to know who Jack Candelaria was. He was a giant in the South Valley community. And we are all so grateful for what he did for this community. Looking around, I see so many familiar faces. I didn't know I was going to have to get in the ring and fight anybody today. I saw Max Heyman, I think. He's the only guy in my weight class, I think. So, Max, get ready. Where are you? Anyway. Okay, thanks, Jake. It's great to see Stephanie Jaramillo here, Victoria Cisneros back there. There was a time when women weren't welcome in this sport. Thanks to the efforts of people like Stephanie and Victoria, Holly, who's putting the shoes back on and fighting tonight, Trina Ortegon, many others, Brenda Burnside. Women now are welcome in this sport. They're a big part of it, and that's great to see. to wrap up, I just want to say thank you to all of you for giving me so much to write about for the last 40 years. And I'm looking forward to the next 40. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rick. And for folks who can't make a fight or we can't watch it, you were the one who told us the story the next day, and that's something I'm grateful for. And I love your childhood stories. I used to box a stuffed animal, and it was named Ben Abruzzo, which is kind of a weird Albuquerque thing. Made no sense. That poor stuffed animal, But I also realized not necessarily my strong suit. So anyway. All right, so now, though, let's hear from a couple of folks, both from the city, but also we're going to hear from some fighters. And so I want to begin. We call him the director of the ABQ Biopark. That would be the zoo. You call him Brandon Gibson, champion and trainer of champs. Come on up, Brandon.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, some of you may be wondering why the guy that's running the zoo is up here talking, but I was once a young boxer. I spent many rounds in this great building, many rounds, and I apologize to any of the trainers who I used their speed bag. I'm sorry, I didn't know it was yours. I thought it was the community center. Just kidding, but I did spend a lot of time here. I'm very, very honored to be here today, and like so many of you in this building, I developed my love and passion for boxing right here at Jack Candelaria, and this building and this sport opened up so many great opportunities in my life. It really, it transformed my life unlike anything else. And as a young man, I remember looking at the murals of the great Bobby Foster and Johnny Tapia and just being inspired, looking at all these great posters, being inspired by just the greatness in our own community. And it always pushed me harder round after round. And I'm inspired by all of our great current champions, Angelo Leo, Josh Torres, Matthew Griego, Brian Mendoza. You guys are inspiring a whole nother generation, so honored to have you guys here today. And so many great trainers. I look around the room and I've cornered against some of you guys. I've been cornered by some of you. I know our community's fortunate to have so much knowledge and passion and love for this game. And one of my great mentors, Greg Jackson's here, South Valley Zone as well, so thank you guys. And New Mexico boxers aren't just champions, they're symbols of hope to us, symbols of resilience, symbols of pride for our community. And right now here at Jack Candelaria Community Center, the next generation of great champions will be built. I am confident in that. I know some of the youth here will be major title holders one day, but also not just champions in the ring, but champions in life, like so many have said today. And so to the coaches, to the families, to the supporters who made this transformation possible, thank you all. This is your gym, and it's been transformed because of the dedication and belief and the power you have for this sport to transform lives. Thank you to Director Jess Martinez, who I met as a young man at Herman Sanchez. Your work here and your vision is transformative, so thank you, Jess. And as a young member of this gym many years ago, I understand the impact that youth and family services have here in Albuquerque, and this was a safe place for me to come. So thank you, guys. Thank you to Councilor Baca. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you, Senator. Thank you to former world champion and director of Albuquerque Community Safety, Jody Escabel, who spent many rounds in here with me. And thank you to Mayor Tim Keller for investing in this important space. And I'll end with, to the young fighters out there, this is your time, this is your gym. Whether you dream of becoming a world champion or a coach or just becoming a better version of yourself, we believe in you as well. So thank you, guys. Let's make some history.
Thanks so much, Brandon. And we do have just about 4 more folks we do want to highlight, but they all have amazing stories. And so this is a story of this gym and an impact on his life that, Brandon mentioned champions in life, or champions even for your neighborhood or even in your own family, just stepping up and being that leader sometimes. And an example of so much of that we want to share with you, his story. Luis Gutierrez, come on up.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here. Thank you all for putting this on and all the great work you've done over the years to continue the program. My name is Luis Gutierrez. I'm one of the coaches at South San Jose Boxing. South San Jose, stand up, please.
Yeah.
Thank you. My three younger brothers and I walked into this building sometime in the late 80s, early 90s, looking to learn to box, right? Throw hands, like we say. And I saw we had an old ring here, a big red one, with a group full of kids. And a man drinking a Coke, right? Wearing dark sunglasses. And I said, hey, we want to box. Okay, well, come on in. Well, what's the charge? Come on in. Okay. So we came in. And we started training, started learning. Very impressive, receiving great training. Until one day I realized just how special this team was, even back then. Because our coaches said, get out of the ring, come out here. And they took a group of us out into this room over here and said, we're not going to box today. This is Mr. Cook, I believe his name was. He's going to give us a class on anger management. And anger management? This is anger management, right? That's what we're here for. No. Here, not here. So Mr. Cook gave us a speech. He asked us, how many of you have met De La Hoya? Of course, only Jakey had met him. So he raised his hand. How many of you have met Mike Tyson? Jakey raised his hand, right? He used to live with him, the Olympic Training Center. He said, that's the point. Don't ever look for a mentor. Don't ever look for a role model with somebody you can't reach out and literally touch, like your coaches. It was then I realized this team is something else. This is beyond boxing. But it really solidified that message one day when I was hitting a speed bag and Jakey pulled me aside and said, Luis, come here. You're going to go work with Jim at the office. Jim, or the coach, used to own a oil and gas drilling company. He said, you're going to go work with Jim in the office and you're going to help him out and then we'll figure it out from there. So Jim said, come on, kid. You're going to work for me. I'm going to pay you $6 an hour and you're going to do the payroll for the corporation. And I didn't realize at that time that was the start of a years-long mentorship from both Jakey and Jim, right? They gave me the discipline, the direction, a job, right? And Jim took it a step further. He asked me one day, what's next, Luis? Okay, we're boxing, you have your Army commitment, you're almost out. What's next? Don't know. Well, you thought about going to school? I have. What do you want to study? Maybe engineering. I'll tell you what, kid, Jim used to always call us kid. Why don't you go enroll at CNM, TVI at the time. And he wrote me a check right at the bottom, the RE. I don't know if some of you remember checks, right? Not around too many, right? But it said RE at the bottom, remittance, South San Jose Boxing Scholarship. And Jim paid for my first 3 semesters at the old TVI. And I started studying undergraduate courses. And I, got the swing of it. Used to get up, go to school, come here, sleep in the truck, come in, trade some punches, go back to school, study to midnight. And I did that for years and years till finally finished my graduate degree in mechanical engineering. Thanks to Jim's and Jakey's push and of course, the financial backing, but more than anything, the discipline, okay? Because I'll be honest with you, I found the discipline here in boxing, here in this community, that even the Army, I was an E5 sergeant in the Army, didn't give me to take one of my biggest fights in life, an engineering degree. It was hard, but I knew if I could get in the ring with Fernando Reyes and Steve Mirabal and Albert Reyes, and do okay, right? And keep most of my brain cells, I think I can handle this fight too. And back to my point earlier, here I am over 30 years later. We're still coaching, we're still doing it, we're still trying to make citizens first. Champion second, champions is the icing on the cake. Most of us will never be world champs, except him, right? So it is possible, absolutely. He's living proof of that. But most of us, I think, we should start to be good citizens first, and that's what our program's here for. I'll just leave you with one. I'll paraphrase the great John F. Kennedy. Everyone knows the quote about "Ask not what your country could do for you." I'm going to scale it down a little bit and don't ask what your community can do for you. Ask what you can do for your community. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Luis. And that last call to action that you mentioned is a great introduction to this next individual. The city every day is run by folks who've dedicated in many ways their entire adult life to helping kids in the city of Albuquerque. That is literally true for Jess Martinez. Please bring up our director of this whole program of Youth and Family, Jess Martinez.
Thank you, Mayor. Much appreciated. Wow. Big round of applause for you all for being here. Thank you. I was telling my team, there's no doubt people will show out. So thank you very much. I'm just here just to thank everybody. I'm here to thank DMD CIP, Anthony Villanueva, project manager. It's all about the details, all about the details. I want to thank the construction company, Wild Construction. They did an amazing job. We really appreciate what they did for us. I want to thank the architects, Dyron Murphy, Oscar and Perla. Anytime I would pick up the phone, they would answer. We made a bunch of changes. They did it smiling, and without them, this wouldn't have been possible. So thank you. I do want to thank the mayor, Forsyth. I want to thank the legislature, past and present, their funding, and the mayor's foresight and pushing made this happen. So thank you very much. And lastly, I do want to thank my staff. They all have their little pins on. Please thank them, because if it wasn't for them, our 22 community centers throughout the city of Albuquerque would not be able to do what they do. Youth opportunities are abundant in the city of Albuquerque to them, so thank you. And I think this is important. We are here to honor the past, the present, and our future. Thank you.
All right, we want to also just let everyone know that we like to hire boxers at the city, just in general. And so I want to acknowledge some in an amazing turn of fortune. He was introduced, but the project manager behind all this used to train here. So Anthony Villanueva, thank you. And again, a great example of a great hire and a community champion from right here. And we have a few folks, some might not be here, but Tomas Cavalier, I know, is also from here. Give him a round of applause. And some of these folks have been mentioned before, but I do want to just highlight, we have this community safety department that instead of a police officer, we send a social worker. Well, amazingly, the head of that entire department, of course, is a champ in her own right in MMA, Jody Escabel. Where is she? Over there. So now what we want to do is also, again, a lot of these folks we've touched on, and I think as the senator mentioned, you never want to leave anyone out, but I know there are some champs here with us, some current fighters. I want to re-acknowledge or acknowledge them. Diamond Boy is here. Give him a round of applause. Diamond Boy Griego. And of course, Pitbull Torres, we saw him. And I know our trainer and fighter, Victoria Cisneros, right back there with the kids. And Stephanie Candelaria, I think she may not be here, but give her a round of applause. And of course, which I didn't actually know, we all know who he is and how important Jackson Wink is to our city and how proud we are to have that facility. But I didn't actually know Greg himself trained here. So we highlighted him, but Greg, welcome back home. Greg Jackson. And so now the man with the belt. Please welcome current champion and undefeated, Angelo Leo.
First and foremost, I want to thank everybody for coming out. It's an honor to be here. This is where I started my career. You know, this gym, it has a very special place in my heart. It all started in that second ring right there with Luis Chavez, my trainer, my dad, Miguel Leo, and I see a lot of familiar faces out here. That's due because we've been here since the early 2000s. I started here in 2002, and the rest is history. This isn't just a boxing gym to me. This is my childhood, and I just want to thank Mayor Tim Keller for putting this all together. I want to thank all the directors, and this is beautiful just to see all this renovation and all that. And I'm gonna keep it short and simple. Just want to thank everybody from the bottom of my heart, and hope you guys enjoy this gym as much as I do. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Angelo. And I make it to occasional fights. I got to see Diamond Boy, and I got to see your fight. And that was another moment where I have just the pride that we felt in what you did as a community was extraordinary. And so you're a great example of the current generation. And as was stated earlier, we're going to train the next generation. And so for us, we're going to wrap things up. And here's how we want to do this. We're just going to have a little fun celebration. We want to invite all our past and current boxers and trainers into the main ring. It's going to be like chaos, like after Angelo's fight. No one knows what's happening. And but anyway, we're going to hop in there and for a little bit of sort of a ribbon cutting. But then we want to make sure to anyone who wants to come, like it is everyone's ring today. And so jump in the championship ring with us. And we're going to really time things with, of course, we are going to answer the bell for Albuquerque and for the next generation. And so the family of, I think it's Jim Johnson's family, is going to ring the bell on a cue. So Jim's family, go ahead and take your position at the bell. Everyone else, squeeze on into the ring with us.